shocking Baba Vanga and Nostradamus both predicted this nation, predictions for 2025. They spoke different languages, they lived in different centuries, yet somehow their visions converged. Baba Vanga, blind mystic of the Balkan sand, Nostradamus, the cryptic French seer, never crossed paths. And yet, both left behind chilling predictions that seemed to point to the same nation. A nation wrapped in mystery. A nation both warned about in veiled metaphors. A nation whose role in 2025 might shake the world. This isn't just ancient prophecy that resonates with today's headlines. It stirs questions about power, fate, and the delicate balance of our global future. You're watching The Journey of Wisdom. What you're about to hear might not only surprise you, but change how you see the world around you. Number 1. Baba Vanga's Prophecies. Baba Vanga, the blind Bulgarian mystic, remains one of the most enigmatic and revered figures in modern prophetic lore. Despite her physical blindness, many believe she possessed an extraordinary inner vision that offered chillingly accurate glimpses into future events. Over the years, her predictions have stirred global attention, particularly those that seemingly foresaw major historical milestones, such as the 9/11 terrorist attacks, the Brexit referendum, and the tragic Kursk submarine disaster. These striking accuracies have only deepened the fascination with her more cryptic, long-range visions. Among her many prophecies, Baba Vanga often spoke of a mysterious nation, never identified by name, but described through vivid metaphors. She referred to it as the bearer of both light and ashes, a phrase rich in contradiction, suggesting a country simultaneously associated with enlightenment and devastation. In one trance-like session in 1979, she declared, "From the east, a red sun will rise, but the light will fall to the west. The land of shifting stones will hold the seed." These cryptic words have puzzled interpreters for decades. What is this land of shifting stones? And what is the seed it holds? Rebirth, destruction, or both? According to Baba Vanga, this nation would not emerge during peaceful times. Instead, it would rise to prominence in an era marked by global disorder where natural disasters, economic collapse, and social unrest converge. It would become a focal point, a silent force playing a pivotal role in humanity's most decisive hour. As chaos grows, this nation's voice-long quiet would begin to resonate on the world stage. In Vanga's vision, it is not just a country, but a crucible in which the future of the world may be shaped. Number 2. Nostradamus's Prophecies. Michel de Nostradamus, known to the world as Nostradamus, remains one of history's most cryptic and controversial prophets. Writing in the 16th century, he concealed his predictions in poetic quatrains, four-line verses, layered with metaphor, symbolism, and ambiguity. This intentional obscurity was not just a literary choice, it was also a protective measure. Living in an era where challenging the religious or political order could be fatal, Nostradamus veiled his visions in riddle-like language to shield both his insights and himself from persecution. Among the thousands of verses Nostradamus penned, several seem eerily relevant to modern global dynamics, particularly those involving a mysterious Eastern power. In one striking quatrain he wrote, "The great empire shall be moved by the winds. A child of the dragon shall rise and fall, but one in the land of storms and steel shall hold the key to the world's fate." This passage, rich with allegorical meaning, has sparked much interpretation. The child of the dragon is often associated with East Asian cultures, particularly China or Japan, where dragons are central mythological figures. The land of storms and steel evokes powerful imagery of conflict, industrial might, and resilience, perhaps pointing to a nation forged through hardship and transformation. In another verse, Nostradamus wrote, "When the eye of the moon rests on the twin hills, the sleeping sword shall awaken." While vague on the surface, this quatrain is often interpreted as a warning about the re-emergence of long-dormant military power, possibly hinting at a strategic shift or reawakening in a pacifist nation again. Speculation often points toward Japan. Taken together, these cryptic predictions suggest a future in which monumental change originates from the East. While Nostradamus rarely named places directly, his symbolic reference empires moved by unseen forces, dragons rising and falling, and silent powers awakening point toward a significant geopolitical transition. The idea that a single nation could influence the fate of the world aligns closely with Baba Vanga's visions and raises a compelling question. Are both seers, despite living centuries apart, referring to the same pivotal force in the East? Number 3. Decoding the Nation in Prophecy, Japan. In the hushed corners of history and mysticism, whispers have long swirled around a land both ancient and futuristic, wounded yet wise. Scholars, mystics, and historians who dare to peer into the symbols left behind by Baba Vanga and Nostradamus have quietly come to an uncanny convergence. Japan. Yes, Japanthe, land of cherry blossoms and earthquakes, nuclear shadows and robotic precision. Baba Vanga once spoke cryptically of a nation destined to face immense trials, water tragedies, nuclear darkness, but also a nation that would become a beacon of spiritual transformation. Cities with glowing veins of ancient traditions clashing with robotic minds, she said, painting a picture so eerily accurate it seems drawn from Tokyo's electric avenues, where AI priests bless visitors in temples older than any skyscraper nearby. Japan is a place where Zen monks bow before the rising sun, and yet, not far from them, vending machines hum to life, offering synthetic escapes to the tired soul. This is not coincidence, it is the dance of destruction and rebirth, a cycle Japan knows intimately. Turning to Nostradamus, the image becomes even more compelling. He wrote of a child of the dragon who would rise and fall, often interpreted as China's story. But in Japanese myth, the dragon is equally vital, symbolizing water, power, and wisdom. When Nostradamus spoke of storms and steel, we're reminded of Japan's fiery past off Hiroshima and Nagasaki, yes, but also of the economic miracle that followed. When the land of the rising sun surged from rubble to robots, a phoenix cloaked in silicon. These visions, shrouded in metaphor, echo across time like the call of a temple bell. Japan is not just surviving, it is shaping a future few can yet comprehend. Baba Vanga's ominous phrase, "A black sun will rise over the land of paper and wind," sends chills through the spine. Scholars link this to Japan's nuclear history, the Hiroshima shadow still etched into humanity's conscience. But they also see the literary soul of Japan, where wind sweeps through poems like the calligraphy of ghosts. The crane will cry as the mountain moves. The people will forget, then remember. This poetic line, tucked away in her notes, now feels prophetic. The crane, Japan's national bird, symbolizes peace and resilience. The mountain, perhaps Mount Fuji, could represent a slumbering culture now stirring. And when a people forget and remember again, isn't that the rhythm of awakening? And so we must ask ourselves, in a world swirling with uncertainty, is Japan not simply a country, but a mirror that reflects what we fear, what we admire, and perhaps what we might become? In these chaotic times where artificial intelligence evolves faster than human ethics can catch up, where nature strikes with fury more frequently, Japan stands uniquely poised. Baba Vanga foresaw a quiet people who would find their voice during global upheaval. Today, Japan's silent innovations in AI, its quiet commitment to beauty, simplicity, and preservation, offer us not loud declarations, but silent guidance. Buddhism teaches us that from a withered tree, a flower blooms. This is the essence of Japan. Each scar it carries from war, tsunami, or economic collapse has birthed something quietly extraordinary. Both prophets alluded to a fateful 13th hour, when humanity's direction would be determined by choices made in the East. Japan, long restrained in its military expressionism, once again re-evaluating its role in global security. Could Nostradamus's phrase, "When the eye of the moon rests on the twin hills, the sleeping sword will awaken," be a metaphor for Japan's potential rise not in violence, but in power through restraint and wisdom? Japan does not shout, but it listens. And in its silence, perhaps it hears the earth more clearly than most. There is a saying in Buddhism, "Silence is an empty space. Space is the home of the awakened mind." Perhaps Japan's decades of quiet rebuilding have prepared it not for conquest, but for guidance. Now, we arrive at the heart of the mystery. What if Japan is both the sanctuary and the warning? Its cherry blossoms bloom only briefly, reminding us through the philosophy of Mono no aware that beauty lies in impermanence, that joy and sorrow are intertwined. This bittersweet awareness could be the very lesson the world needs know to slow down, to observe, to remember that life, like a sakura petal, drifts fast and vanishes. But is this beauty masking something more? Could Japan's silent advancements and spiritual heritage be the seed of a new way forward, or the trigger of a profound shift in the global order? Whether one believes in prophecy or not, the signs and symbols compel reflection. The convergence of past suffering, technological evolution, and timeless wisdom in Japan paints a picture we cannot ignore. Baba Vanga and Nostradamus might not have spoken with precision, but their metaphor-slayered and poetic point to Japan not as a relic, but as a potential guidepost. In a time where noise is constant and clarity is rare, Japan's balance of chaos and calm might just offer the silence we need to hear ourselves again. And perhaps that is the deeper meaning behind their visions, not just to predict, but to prepare. So, what does this mean for you? Reflect, engage, and remain awake. The world turns quickly now, and Japanland of the crane, shadow, and blossom may be whispering truths we can no longer afford to ignore. Number 4. Questions for the future. As we examine the cryptic messages left behind by Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, one profound question remains. What role will Japan truly play in the unfolding future of our world? Could it become the spark of a global spiritual awakening leading humanity toward deeper awareness, balance, and renewal? Or, conversely, could it serve as the epicenter of a new wave of destruction where technological advancement and geopolitical tension collide with irreversible consequences? These prophecies do more than hint at a specific nation. They seem to point toward a critical turning point in the human story. A crossroads where the choices of one nation, and by extension the world, may determine whether we move toward healing or devastation. Are we witnessing the fulfillment of visions foreseen centuries ago? Or are we simply interpreting old symbols through the lens of our modern fears? Either way, the message is clear. Something significant is stirring in the East, and the consequences may echo across the entire globe. Thank you for spending time with us in today's video, exploring the powerful and mysterious predictions of Baba Vanga and Nostradamus for the future of a nation in 2025. It means a lot to have you here as part of our community. We'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you feel about these predictions? Do they resonate with you or spark curiosity? If you're new, just drop a comment saying, "I am a seeker." And if you've been walking this path with us for a while, type, "I am awakened." Every comment you share encourages us deeply and helps keep this journey going. Let's keep discovering the unknown together. Ready for what's next? Lessons from the Prophecies. what really matters for us. Whether or not you believe in prophecy, one thing is clear. Both Baba Vanga and Nostradamus seem to highlight one central truth, that humanity's most critical turning points don't arrive with noise, but with awareness. And Japan, in its quiet strength and deep resilience, may just symbolize that truth. So, what can we living in 2025 learn from all this? Number 1. There is wisdom in silence. There is profound wisdom hidden in silencia truth, echoed not just in spiritual traditions, but deeply rooted in the human heart. The Japanese concept of ma, the space between sounds or moments, invites us to recognize that what isn't said is often more powerful than what is. In our current age, life seems to be in fast forward. Phones buzz, messages stream in, responsibilities pile up, and in the rush to keep up, we become strangers to ourselves. We move from task to task without truly arriving in any moment. Silence, once a natural part of our lives, now feels like a luxury, or worse, an awkward void we try to fill with distraction. But if we listen deeply, silence isn't empty, it is full of answers. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, silence is essential. We need silence just as much as we need air, just as much as plants need light. This isn't about sitting on a mountaintop or escaping the world, it's about creating small sacred spaces in our daily lives where we can return to ourselves. Imagine starting your morning not with a screen, but with your breath just sitting quietly, noticing the stillness within. This simple practice, just 5 minutes of silence, can clear the mental clutter like fog lifting from a valley. It is here, in this stillness, that we reconnect with our intuition and the deeper truths that are often drowned out by the noise. In Buddhist teachings, right mindfulness reminds us to be fully present in each moment, and this cannot be achieved without moments of quiet reflection. Lao Tzu once said, "Silence is a source of great strength," and indeed, in silence, we stop reacting and begin responding wisely, gently, and compassionately. For those of us balancing work, family, aging parents, and our own shifting roles, silence isn't just restful, it's necessary. It becomes the mirror through which we see our true priorities, our fears, and the small, quiet hopes we've buried under the noise of busyness. When we pause and breathe, we return to center. We begin to notice the smile of a loved one, the scent of the morning coffee, the sound of birds outside the window, tiny miracles we've trained ourselves to overlook. And in these moments, life becomes whole again. The Buddha taught, "Better than 1,000 hollow words is one word that brings peace." In the same way, a few silent minutes can bring more clarity than hours of overthinking. So I urge you, wherever you are in life, whether you're climbing the corporate ladder, supporting a growing family, or finding peace in a slower rhythm, honor the wisdom of stillness. Don't underestimate the power of pausing. Let silence be your daily medicine, your quiet sanctuary in the middle of life's chaos. In doing so, you won't just hear the world more clearly, you'll hear yourself. And in that sacred listening, you'll discover what truly matters. Number 2. True power is inner power. There's a line found in many ancient prophecies that speaks of a sleeping sword. At first glance, it sounds like a warning perhaps of violence, war, or destruction yet to come. And yes, some might hear those words and prepare for battle, imagining enemies outside themselves. But what if that sword isn't meant to be raised against others at all? In the language of Buddhist wisdom, a sword is something much deeper. It symbolizes insight, a sharp awareness that cuts through confusion, ego, and illusion. It's not a weapon for hurting others. It's a tool for awakening. You see, real power doesn't come from conquering lands or controlling people. It comes from mastering the chaos within ourselves. Think about that for a moment. How often do we let anger take the wheel when we're hurt, or let fear guide our decisions when we're uncertain? True strength is being able to pause, breathe, and respond with clarity instead of impulse. That's the sword the prophecy speaks of, not one forged of steel, but of mindfulness. So, when conflict stirs in your life, whether it's a disagreement at home, tension at work, or inner doubt, what kind of sword are you reaching for? Is it one shaped by fear and force? Or can you turn inward, touch that quiet strength within you, and let wisdom guide your next step? In moments like these, it's easy to forget we have a choice. But we do. We always do. Buddhism teaches that even in the heat of conflict, we can choose understanding over blame, patience over rage. We can listen more deeply, speak more kindly, and act more consciously. That's not weakness, that's courage, that's real power. And that's where transformation begins, not out there in the world, but right here in the heart. You might ask yourself, how can I begin to awaken this sword of mindfulness within me? Start small. Begin with noticing. Notice how you feel before you speak. Notice how quickly your thoughts jump to judgment or defense. And then try something radical. Pause. Just pause. That moment of awareness is like drawing the sword not to strike, but to see clearly. Clarity helps us realize that most battles we think we're fighting outside are really battles within, against our need to be right, our fear of being seen, or our pain from old wounds. When we bring compassion to those places inside us, the need to fight others often fades. In that space, we can grow. So here's what this prophecy truly teaches us, if we're willing to listen. The greatest battles are not fought with weapons, but with wisdom. The sleeping sword isn't calling us to war, it's calling us to wake up. And when we do, we discover a strength far beyond control, a strength rooted in awareness, calm, and love. That is the power that changes lives. Lesson for the journey. Real strength is not about controlling others, it's about mastering our own mind and heart. When we learn to meet conflict with understanding instead of aggression, we not only change the outcome, we change who we are. So the next time you're tempted to react, ask yourself, what would the awakened sword within you do? Point 3. Number 3. Beauty is brief, so live fully in each moment. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched cherry blossoms bloom? If you have, you'll know it's not just a visual delight. It's a deep, quiet lesson from nature itself. In Japan, cherry blossoms, or sakura, are cherished not only for their breathtaking beauty, but also for their fleeting presence. They bloom in radiant splendor, painting the world in soft pinks and whites, and then, almost as quickly, they fall. This is not seen as something sad, but as something meaningful. Why? Because their impermanence is what makes them so special. They remind us, quite powerfully, that life is brief and that beauty doesn't last forever. And that's precisely why we must learn to live fully in each moment. As the Buddha once said, do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. You see, we spend so much time waiting for the perfect job, the perfect relationship, the perfect moment to be happy. We think, once I have this, then I'll finally feel peace. But life doesn't wait. It keeps moving, just like the cherry blossoms drifting to the ground. The truth is, joy isn't hidden in some distant future, it's right here, in this very breath. It's in the warm cup of tea cradled in your hands, the sound of rain tapping on your window, the gentle smile from someone you love. These small things, so easily overlooked, are actually the very essence of life. The Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, beautifully put it, the present moment is filled with joy and happiness. If you are attentive, you will see it. So, I invite you to pause. Right now, what's around you that you can appreciate just as it is? Can you feel the air on your skin, hear the sounds of life nearby, notice the rhythm of your own breath? These aren't trivial details. These are your life unfolding. And in honoring them, we begin to see clearly what truly matters: not possessions, not perfection, but presence. Sometimes, the most profound joy comes not from chasing more, but from seeing more deeply. When we are present, even a single flower can feel like a miracle. And isn't that the kind of richness we all long for? The kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, but arises from a grateful heart. Now let's reflect together. What are you postponing joy for? What would it feel like to stop waiting and start embracing what's already here? The cherry blossoms teach us to notice, to cherish, and to let go. They don't resist the wind when it's time to fall. They dance with it. Can we do the same with grace, with openness, with trust? As we continue this journey together, let's carry this gentle but powerful lesson in our hearts. Beauty is brief, but awareness makes it eternal. By choosing to live fully in each moment, we don't just exist, we awaken. You've already taken a powerful step by reflecting on these ancient prophecies and what they truly mean for us today. Type "mindful path" in the comments if you're ready to walk a life led by clarity and compassion. There's more insight ahead. Stay with us as we explore how these lessons can shape a better world within and around us. Number 4. Mind over uncertainty. Throughout history, people have looked to prophecies not just for prediction, but for perspective. They are like alarm clocks for the soul, meant not to frighten us, but to stir us awake. The real value of any prophecy isn't in the specific visions of doom, but in the invitation to reflect on how we are living right now. We can't always control what storms might gather on the horizon: wars, economic instability, climate change, but we can absolutely decide how we'll meet those storms when they come. This is the heart of spiritual preparation, not fortifying the outside, but strengthening the inside. The Buddha once said, "Rule your mind or it will rule you." And this truth echoes through time, especially now, when our minds are constantly pulled in 1,000 directions by fear, anger, and distraction. The lesson is simple, but not easy. Instead of reacting to chaos, we learn to respond with calm. Instead of adding to the noise, we bring stillness. That's the real preparation, not building bunkers, but building presence. So how do we do this in real life, where responsibilities and stress often drown out peace? It begins in the small things. Practicing inner clarity isn't about becoming a monk or moving to the mountains. It's in choosing to breathe before speaking, to listen fully without preparing your next sentence, and to respond with kindness even when others don't. These little moments shape our mental landscape, just like raindrops gradually carve stone. When we ground ourselves each day, even for a few minutes, we slowly rewire the nervous system to move from reaction to reflection. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without, the Buddha reminded us. And that's a guiding principle for anyone navigating today's turbulent world. Whether you're driving in traffic, handling family tensions, or facing uncertainty at work, every situation becomes a training ground for calm awareness. The world doesn't need more panics, it needs more people who can stay steady while others shake. In fact, this is how you build a more peaceful world: one breath, one kind act, one clear thought at a time. By anchoring ourselves in mindfulness, we don't deny the storms, we simply choose not to be swept away by them. And that choice has power. It creates a ripple effect. When you show up with steadiness, others feel it. When you refuse to feed the fire of fear, others are reminded of their own light. This is how we quietly become beacons, tending to the flame within. So even if the future remains a question mark, your presence can be the answer. As Lao Tzu said, "If you are depressed, you are living in the past. If you are anxious, you are living in the future. If you are at peace, you are living in the present." Let that wisdom carry you. Because while we may not know what the future holds, we can know exactly how we will meet it calm, steady, and kind. Number 5. Prophecy doesn't predict fate, it calls us to wake up. Prophecies often stir a strange mix of fear and fascination. We lean in, hoping for insight, but also bracing for doom. Yet, perhaps we've misunderstood their true purpose. What if prophecy isn't about predicting the future at all, but about awakening something dormant within us? Both Baba Vanga and Nostradamus left behind visions wrapped in mystery. But the deeper message may not lie in the what of their predictions. It lies in the why. Why were these visions spoken? Why were they shared in metaphor, not maps? Why do they still resonate today? Because prophecy isn't meant to paralyze us with fear. It's meant to shake us from numbness. In Buddhism, we speak of the concept of waking up, not just from sleep, but from the fog of habit, distraction, and delusion. A prophecy, in this light, becomes like the temple bell. It rings not to inform, but to awaken. It says, "Pay attention, something matters here." So, when we hear of a nation of light and ashes, or a sleeping sword, we shouldn't rush to decode it like a puzzle. We should feel into its essence. These images aren't just about Japan or geopolitics, they are mirrors. They reflect the tension within us all, between wisdom and destruction, silence and noise, purpose and chaos. The question isn't, will the prophecy come true? The question is, what kind of world are we creating right now? Because the seeds of the future aren't hidden in books or ancient scrolls, they're planted in every choice we make today. We choose every day what kind of people we are becoming. Do we act from fear or from understanding? Do we build walls or bridges? Do we cling to what's safe, or do we lean into what's wise even when it's uncomfortable? The future isn't fixed. That's the quiet truth most prophecies hint at, but rarely say outright. The future is alive, shaped by consciousness and compassion, or by carelessness and greed. We are not passengers, we are participants. So, let this final lesson be one of empowerment. Prophecies may hint at shadows, but they also offer light. Not by telling us what will be, but by reminding us what could be if we choose well. The invitation is simple, but profound. Stay awake, stay kind, stay mindful. Don't wait for the world to shift. Let it begin in you. Because every awakened heart sends ripples farther than we can see. And in that ripple, perhaps, lies the true fulfillment of every ancient vision. Whether we believe in prophecy or not, the messages left behind by Baba Vanga and Nostradamus urge us to pause, reflect, and take responsibility for the future we're shaping both as individuals and as a global society. In a time of noise and uncertainty, perhaps Japan's quiet strength reminds us that wisdom, not fear, is the way forward. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this video sparked reflection or offered you a new perspective, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos, where we continue exploring timeless truths in a changing world. Until next time, stay mindful, stay compassionate, and keep walking the path of wisdom.